Hello, everyone. Um, I really don't know how to start because I've been meaning to do this video for quite some time, and it's just something that's been in me for the longest time now. And for someone who claims to be a servant of God, I really do think it's time that I share my experiences with you, because there are many means of sharing an experience with God. It's not necessarily standing in front of a congregation and speaking to people. There are many means of sharing the word of God and God's experience, especially with the technologies and stuff. So just going straight to the point, I wanted to share an experience that I had. But before I even go further, my names are Thuso Khabo Jr. Chris Reasense. Those are my full names, and I gave my life to God on the 28th of February, on the 27th of February 2014. That's when I officially gave my life to God. And when I gave my life to God, it was an experience of a lifetime, because I remember it very clearly. My biggest fear has always been me losing my mom, because she was the only parent that I've seen with both my eyes from the day I basically came into this world to being this person that I am. I knew my dad, but he was from another country, and I didn't have anything against him, but he was just not there, understandably. But my mom has always been there for me, and my biggest fear was always losing my mom. So on that day, on the 27th of February 2014, my mom was very sick, and she said something that got to me. I remember I was in my room, I was still making beats, because I'm a huge music lover, and I was making beats, and then the power cut off for some reason, and I went to stay with them on the sitting room, and she was very sick, and she said the words that kind of triggered or got to me. She said, "I'm dying," and that just in my heart, I was like, okay, please, Lord. I remember going outside crying my heart out, saying, please, God, do not take my mom away. Do not take my mom away. And I gave my life to God. And on that very same day, I remember looking up. I was with my dog outside, and I remember saying, Lord, I give my life to you, and I want to live for you. And I experienced the most beautiful moment that I don't think not everyone experienced. But I was able to hear God's voice. I was able to hear God talk to me and say, my son, I forgive you. And when I heard those voices, I was just weak. I couldn't even stand up. Because the power that was behind those words. I said, Lord, I give my life to you, and I just want to live for you. And God just said, my son, I forgive you. And I fell down. I remember looking at my dog, and my dog just ran away as if he saw something that was terrifying. when those moments were happening, that moment was happening, and he said, stand up. I told him I couldn't. I told him I just couldn't. And he gave me the strength to stand up. And that experience, when the angels held my hands and I was walking outside, I remember very clearly that I've never been the same ever since. I've never doubted God's existence. I've never doubted anything that had to do with heaven. Ever since that experience, I've always believed in God. And just growing up, I've always believed in God, but I was uncertain because the world was feeding me with toxic knowledge, philosophies, that what ifs. But ever since the 27th of February 2014, I officially gave my life to God. And you could say I traded my soul or sold my soul to God. And fast forward a couple years, I go through some stuff, my ups and downs. But one thing I want to tell you is today is the 18th of January 2023. It's been almost 9 years since I last gave my life to God. And between those years, I've had my ups and downs. And in my downs, I've never doubted if God left me. I've always doubted my faith towards Him, because He has proven me countless times that He's a God that answers prayers. He's a God that loves His children. And He said, He once spoke to me through a prophet who gave me a scripture that said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And in Proverbs, He said, do not forget my words, my commandment, keep them in your heart. And those are the words that I live by, because I remember there was a time when I asked Him to take my life, because I was in the clear. I was in the good books. I was praying, I was meditating, I was ready to go. And God said, you need to save my people. And He brought me back into the world to do so. And, last year, I've fallen, guys. I really have fallen. I've been, my story as I'm telling it now, I'm fast forwarding it, but in real time, the experiences that I've had with God and just the devil constantly persuading me to try and get me to fall, to die, has been relentless, has been overwhelming for me. But I'm able to stand tall, which is why I'm here today making this video for you guys, so that I could share my experience with you. And last year, I had the most wonderful experience that I feel I should share with you guys, which was, there was a time when I was sitting, I don't really remember the dates, because now it's been many times that I've had countless experiences with God, and I've gotten used to this life now, so I can't even keep track, because God keeps doing wonders in my life. And last year, I remember I was sitting in my place and I had a vision, I had a vision that I saw heaven. And I'm not too proud to say this, but this was the day when I was going through the worst, and I smoked a little bit of marijuana because of the influence, and the devil has tried to take me down. But God has always spoke to me and always reminded me what I needed to do. And last year, when I had that vision, I was sitting in my kitchen, and I saw heaven. I was sitting on the throne like the 144. So I looked around and I could see seats around the throne, because when I looked, I was on the throne, and where I was, God was on my right. God's throne was on my right, and there were two thrones. Like, God's throne was on my right and Jesus' throne was on the other right. Like, they were both on my right. So God's throne was on the left, towards his left, Jesus' left, and Jesus was on his right hand. And I couldn't see him clearly. I couldn't see the faces, but I could see the thrones and the figures, the human figures that were sitting on the thrones. And when I saw around the seats, these were the seats that were to be taken by us as human beings, the conquerors. God showed me those seats, and there were not many empty seats left. These were the people that was to still fill them, and the people that were still on earth. And I'm very bad at telling stories, guys, so please bear with me and try to really relate, because this is a very important message. And I saw those seats around, and these people were singing. There were voices praising God. And that experience, I felt that presence. I felt so comfortable. And when I saw that, when I saw the throne, everything came to me. Like I could not recall how I've lived, who I've lived for on earth. Everything that I have lived for, I saw before God. And God was saying to me, you live to fight to be here. You live to fight to be here in heaven. That's what I got from the vision. That everything that I've done on earth made me worthy to live in his kingdom. And I'm pleading to you that on your everyday life, please live for a purpose, for God, because your days will be counted. And as I was sitting on the throne, we kind of traveled, and I saw my body. Before we traveled, I saw my body. This body that you see, my flesh, I was a spirit sitting on the throne, and my body came to me. This flesh came and spoke to me. And it was one of the weirdest experiences, but I understood it. It came and spoke to me, and I said, thank you. Thank you for holding out for me when I was on earth. And he said it was a pleasure. And he shook my hand. Like you could imagine, this flesh is what you're given on earth, and you need to take care of it. Truly, your body is a temple of God. Whatever you do to your body, you need to be very careful, because this is a temple of God. I spoke to this body. My spirit was elsewhere, and I spoke to this body. And I remember him telling me, I will meet you on the other side. And I think it was paradise, because he said, I will meet you on the other side. And we were traveling. We started traveling. And as we were traveling, like I saw on both sides, I saw fire. Like it was a lake of fire. And down there, people were burning. It was terrifying. I saw human beings being burned. It's not a good sight. You know, you think about people who still think that this is a joke. You think about people who still think that there's time. You think about people who still mock and make jokes about life and God and heaven. And the funny thing is, they acknowledge the bad that is in the world, but they won't even give credit to the good that there is. That's what I don't get with people. You know, when all is said and done, when all is said and done and your life has come to an end, you're gonna want more time. And you won't have more time because you would have been given the longest time while you're still alive. You need to make your everyday count. When all is said and done, no one, and I mean no one, will save you. It'll be between you and God. And I'm pleading to you today to give your life to God. For your sake, for your eternity, please give your life to God. Let Him be the one that takes over. Because the devil would only make you excited for a few minutes. He will put on anything to try and convince you that you should not worship this God. He knows if you will know the truth about God, you will destroy him. Now, it's sad to think that not everyone will live to serve Christ and God in His kingdom, because not everyone will accept Jesus Christ. But you have a chance. You know what to do. Don't wait until tomorrow. Bow down now. Give your life to God. Pray. And you should always pray this prayer: Lord, take me to the right places, and may I meet the right people. God would bring His servants to you. God will take you to a place where He knows you will be safe, and you will be free, and you will be guided and blessed. He will never leave you nor forsake you. How I felt when I gave my life to God back in 2014 and how I feel now is different. But you know what? I can comfortably stand here, strong, stand tall, and tell you that every single prayer that I've made to God has been answered. God is the only one. Please give your life to God and live a happy life, a free life, eternity, forever and ever. Imagine a world of no sickness. Imagine a world of no disease, no crime. There wouldn't be news reporting about the worst things that could ever happen on earth and human beings. Just a free world where there's no death, no sickness. It's there. It doesn't have to be in your imagination anymore. You can have a glimpse of that life when you give your life to God. Christ is in me. Please give your life to God. Please give your life to God. I wouldn't be doing this message if it wasn't important. And I'm not generally a video person, nor I don't even like photos. But God told me to make this to talk to you and help you in getting to His kingdom. He wants you to make it to the other side. He's ready to receive you. Fight. It won't be easy. Jesus never said it will be easy. He said, if the world hates you, know that it hated me first. But you know what? He has conquered. He has overcome death for us, for me and you. Give your life to God. God bless you.